Well, welcome to our first live session. It is 6:30 Central Standard Time, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I realize that some people might be coming on in, but I want to make sure to respect everyone's time. So as we get started, can everyone see the PowerPoint okay? Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me okay? Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So we're in good shape. Can you guys see the PowerPoint too?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know that there's some people that might be coming on, but I just want to respect everybody's time. You guys can unmute your microphones at this time, and then when I ask a question or something, you guys could participate in the conversation. Sound good?
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So here's an overview of the agenda for tonight's live module. We'll get to know each other a little bit, talk about how the class is going so far, my live classroom expectations, scoring rubrics, submitting assignments, field experience reports, APA formatting, the role of standards in early childhood education, and then we'll have time for a question and answer. I think I also put in there that is not on the agenda your guys' assignment for this week, understanding appropriate and inappropriate developmentally practices too as well. So just want to go over brief introductions. I will share a little bit about myself, and then I will get to hear a little bit about you guys as well. So I'm originally from a small town in northeastern North Dakota. I understand a lot of you guys are from actually Minnesota, which is pretty awesome. You're my sister state. So I'm a graduate of the University of North Dakota with a bachelor's degree. There in North Dakota, I majored in history. And then later on, I decided I had a passion for early childhood education. So I moved from Grand Forks, North Dakota to Denver. And then I pursued a career in early childhood education. So ever since I've been here in Denver, I've worked for the public and private sectors as a teacher and a director for the last 10 years, and have worked in the public schools as a special needs educator as well. I received my master's degree in early childhood education in an online classroom similar to this one. So I'm pretty familiar with the online world of teaching and being a student. Right now I'm currently an education supervisor for the Head Start program in Adams County, which is in Denver Metro. I have a passion for working with children and families who are underprivileged. One day I do hope to go back to school to pursue a doctoral degree in early childhood education. My favorite toy as a child would probably have to be my Buddy doll, because I wanted blonde hair like all the other kids in North Dakota. But I didn't really have blonde hair, so my Buddy was the closest thing. I know that's kind of a silly reason, but that's a little bit about me. Now I just want to open up for conversation. It looks like Nathan and Amanda, you guys are on. For you guys to introduce yourselves, share your name, where you live, which I think both of you might live in Minnesota, I'm guessing. The type of degree you're pursuing, and what your favorite toy as a child was, and why. Don't go all at once.
I don't know if my mic is working.
It's working.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wonderful. Okay, I guess I can go first. So I'm from Northwest. Well, I was born in the Twin Cities area, and then my parents moved to Northwest Wisconsin. I lived there for 14 years, and I moved back here and started working, and now I'm going to school here. So I've lived most of my life in Northwest Wisconsin. I did a year of college in Wisconsin at a private school, and it wasn't really what I wasn't really happy with what I was doing, so I decided to move to the Minnesota area, and then now I'm pursuing. I took a year off. I'm back pursuing a degree in early childhood education for an associate's, and then figuring out what I want to do after that. And yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. I know I don't want to be like a teacher that sits in a classroom for 8 hours a day teaching one group of students or multiple groups. So that's not what I want to do. But I still got to kind of figure out what I want to do. But I know I love working with kids. I've been working with kids since I was a junior in high school. I started with middle schoolers. So yeah, and then my favorite toy as a child, I was and still am a super gamer. So my parents got me a Game Boy, the one that didn't have like any color or any light in it or anything. You had to get like the attachable light on it to see it at nighttime. And then from there, yeah, I just have been playing games and stuff like that since, and I think that it's helped me through a lot of different things and stuff. And so, yeah, I think that first Game Boy, my dad found a game for it. He worked at a car dealership. There was a game on the back seat and the floor, and it was a Pokemon game. That was like the first game that I got. So it's fun stuff.
Awesome, Nathan. Thank you for sharing. It's nice to see. I know that you're pursuing a degree, but you're not necessarily pursuing a degree in your ultimate goal is not early childhood education, but it's good that you're taking this class, and I'm glad to see that there's another male. It's nice to see that.
I work at a children's learning adventure, and there's 2 other males, and I'm the only one that works with preschool and under. The other ones only work with the school agers. So.
School agers, yeah.
Yeah.
Takes a special male.
Oh yeah. At the center that I work at, we don't have any males. It's all females.
Yeah, it's usually female is pretty much predominant in the early childhood education culture.
I just don't understand that.
Well, and children get really excited when they see the male that comes into the classroom. Every time I come into the classroom, they're like, "Mr. Mike!" And then I give them knuckles. And
yeah, like representation is extremely important, especially around young kids. They can't.
Yeah, a lot of them don't have like father figures too, especially where I'm working at. So it's nice to see another male.
Move closer to my Wi-Fi box.
Can you hear us, Amanda? Can you hear me? Perfect. So do you want to share a little bit about yourself, Amanda?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Amanda. I grew up in central Minnesota, and I am pursuing my associates in early childhood right now, but I am aspiring to be a teacher. I'm hoping to be an elementary teacher in a public school and then eventually move on to be a high school teacher. And that's my ultimate goal. And then my favorite toy as a child, I didn't really have like one toy that I liked, but I would always like find a bunch of trinkets around my house and then put it in a backpack and then go out to my woods and explore. That was pretty nice.
Very cool. So what part of Minnesota? You said you're in the central part?
Yeah, it's a little town called Ham Lake. So
oh, yeah.
It's right outside the big metros and everything.
Right on. Cool. Well, welcome, guys, to the live session. I'm going to keep on going so we could get out on time tonight. So I wanted to check in with you guys. So how is the class going so far? Are you guys able to navigate through the course? um, the modules, the discussions, general course questions, course messages, all of that stuff, resource tabs. You know, sometimes for me, like when I was on your guys' side, being a student, the best suggestion is to just play around with it and practice if you're not really familiar with it, because sometimes you're your best teacher. So yeah. So how's things going?
Good.
For me, the layout is pretty poor, I would say, how things are set up, but it's one of the things you got to get used to, because everyone is like so different from online classes I've done before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as well organized as other ones, so like the readings and stuff are like yeah, like it takes getting used to, I think, and I think that the more times I've done it, the more times I've like I have to click this and then click this and then click this to get to what I want to, and just figuring out the different layouts, because the other classes, even through Rasmussen that I'm taking currently, has a different page layout than this class, so it's just figuring out how each one is. I think it'll get easier as the more assignments that we do and stuff like that.
Is the classes that you're taking through Rasmussen, are they early childhood as well?
Yeah, I'm taking a it is the Foundations of Child Development course.
Okay. So what's your biggest struggle, Nathan? I mean, like for me, I'm here to help you. So I like to know these things so I could actually fix them.
Yeah, so
and sometimes I can't fix them because that's just how the course is actually generated. But I mean, I could do what I can on my end.
So like when you click on, say, Module 2 and then the lesson content, it brings you just a ton of stuff, and it's not like clear which is the most important stuff, which stuff is kind of like side reading stuff, which stuff is going to be things that are in like the page, if that makes sense. Like there's just a list of like things to read and how long they take, but not like where those things are that you need to read. And like I guess it's that part of the organized, like knowing which things are the most important things to read and the things to read first going into each module, and then as like you do the modules, obviously we'll figure out which ones are the ones that are the focus of the module.
Sure.
And how you lay it out.
So yeah, I mean, sometimes when I actually set up the course, it is basically preset for me. So sometimes I don't have control of like how many minutes. It says how many minutes that it takes. You know, for me, when I'm taking online classes, I look and see like what our assignments are and making sure that whatever assignment and whatever reading pertains to that assignment and going from there. One thing I would suggest for you is to really pay attention to my course announcements at the very, very beginning of the week, because I pretty much just highlight what is really important and what you guys really need to look at and focus on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I've been clicking, I go to the assignments one, and then I like read what the assignments are and like pull them up in a tab. I have two monitors, so I'll have the assignment on one side, and then I can like on the other side look through the material to see which ones it's talking about.
Okay. Well, that's good information for me to know. Thanks for sharing. Amanda, is there anything? How's things going with you?
They're going pretty good. I just actually got done with module 1 last night, and I was a little confused on where to find my assignments, but then I just, like you said, I just poked around, and then I got back to the page that I was on, and then I found all of my assignments. So I think it's going pretty good so far.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I mean, sometimes you just have to navigate a little bit to make sure that you know what is, what assignment, where things are. It does take some use to, especially if you're not used to it. So, but thanks for the feedback, guys. So I'm going to keep going on, and I'm going to talk a little bit about live classroom session expectations. So there will not be 3 live classroom sessions. I don't know why there's 3 on there. There's actually 2. There's one in this module and one in module 5. So I don't want to confuse everybody. There's 2 live classroom sessions, not 3. Just wanted to clarify that. So the next one will be, let's see if it's module 2, so 3 weeks from now. It'll be at the same time on Wednesday. So basically, what is expected of you is just to attend the live session, and if you guys participate, so both of you guys are participating tonight, I'm not going to ask anything else of you guys. Like the people who are not participating tonight, they will have to go through the live session and then answer any questions that I posed to you guys. So, and then they would have to respond in the discussion forum the questions that I ask to earn full points. And then, like I said, if you guys are present, you're expected to contribute, but basically you will receive full credit. So that's a plus side of being on here. Do you guys have any questions with this?
Oh, that's cool.
Right on. Okay, so moving forward, scoring rubrics. So wanted to go over this quickly with you guys. So all assignments are graded based on a rubric. I just want to make sure to let you guys all know how to access the rubric so you can make sure that you can meet all the criteria before submitting an assignment. To view the rubric for each assignment, just click on the assignment title under the assignment tab in each module. And towards the upper left side, you'll see a box with the total points possible listed in that box. Under the total points, there will be a button that says View Rubric. And then if you click on that button, a new window will open with the scoring rubric. And then you want to use these rubrics to your advantage because you want to ensure you want to receive all the points possible for the assignment. You also want to see the announcement from yesterday, 8/14, that I posted for the instruction on how to view the feedback on graded assignments. And also just note that there is no rubric attached for the discussions. So basically, if you create a substantial post that answers the prompt questions and you respond to any question that I ask you and respond to at least 2 of your peers with a concise paragraph, you will then receive your full credit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cut and dry. So, submitting assignments. So to submit an assignment, just wanted to take a moment to review assignment submission. So in order to submit an assignment, click on the assignment title under the assignment tab in each module. You want to scroll down towards the bottom and select the file from your computer that you would like to submit. You want to select open. And then be sure to click the submit button once you have uploaded your assignment. I know a lot of students sometimes forget to do that, and then they start asking, well, I thought I submitted it, but then they don't actually upload it. So you got to make sure that you have uploaded your assignment before you do that. And then just note that there's a 10% of your total points possible will be deducted for each assignment is late. if you reach out to me and let me know if there's a situation that's going on, I am very gracious because I have a family. I understand that things come up and some things don't get done in time, so I am really flexible, but I just need to have that communication. I just need you guys to communicate when there's something going on because I know life gets in the way and sometimes we don't finish all our stuff right away on time. So just make sure to get in contact with me if that is an issue. So one of the advantages to submitting the assignments early is that if you do have an assignment before the due date and you get a low grade on it, I'll let you redo it. Just let me know in course messages, and then if you want to redo it, you could do it to get a better grade. My goal is not to fail anyone, but to pass everyone and try to have everyone understand and get 100%. Does that make sense, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right. So developmentally appropriate and inappropriate practices, we kind of dive into a little bit of this week's assignment. So the assignment this week focuses on implementing DAP and contrasting it with the DIP, which is developmentally inappropriate practices. The assignment is due Sunday, August 19th. You will use a provided template on there. Just make sure that when you have that template that you include your name and the name of the activity and the age group that you work with most often. So if you work with multiple age groups, just pick one. And if it's like divided in like quarters, just pick one. And then you'll fill in the 10 rows of the developmentally appropriate steps in the 10 developmentally inappropriate steps in contrast. So the very important thing I want you guys to take away from this is please do not delete the rows. You guys are expected to share 10 items for each column. I know I've taught this in other classes and there's been some students who actually will delete some of the template. So just make sure you don't delete the template because I will know if you do, okay?
Sounds good.
Cool. Field experience. So your field experience reports are where you will record your field experience hours. So there will be 30 hours of field experience that must be completed and recorded by the end of Module 5, which is Sunday, September 9th. Make sure you do this or you guys will not pass the course. Can't stress that enough. September 9th is a big day, so make sure you guys have that all, your field experience reports completed. You will also, oh, go ahead.
For that, I don't know, it says something about making sure where I'm working is like an accepted place or like something about like it being an approved field site. And I don't know if I'm like, it's like how I know that. I mean, I work at Children's Learning Adventure. I would think that they're well known enough where they would be.
Well, I'll ask you this, Nathan. Are they licensed?
Yeah.
Then you're fine.
Okay.
So basically, if they're licensed by the state, you're fine.
Okay, sounds good.
So don't worry about it at all. But yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, if they're licensed, if they have any affiliation with the state, then you guys are fine. That's a licensed center. So basically, you'll also answer questions about how and what you are observing in your work with the children that relates to what we are learning in the course. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Do you guys have any other questions with field experience reports?
So should we be trying to complete a field experience report the whole time that we're in our modules?
Yes. So
Okay.
so there's like a prompt in each, like they kind of give you a guideline of what you're supposed to be working on. So each week I would highly encourage you. You don't have to, but then I don't want you guys stressing at the end of the course trying to complete all of them and then turn them all in and then having to be just a really bad field experience report at the end. You want to just make sure to plan some time each week just to get them done so you have it so you're not rushing.
Okay, is there a rubric of the field experience report that we should be following?
I believe there is. I will get back to you with that. I can't pull it up right now off the top of my head, but I will answer your question and I will post it to the course announcements later tonight.
Sweet, thank you.
Yes. You guys have any other questions?
For logging the hours, is it just like I mean, I work full time. I work 40 hours a week, so I mean, it's not going to be a problem to get 30 hours. But so I don't know how I like if that's just like knowing that I work full time like is enough to like count it, or what I need, if there's something like I need to like submit for my job or something that says that I work the hours.
So that's another good question. Since you work there at your site, you should be fine. But Nathan, I'll double check with you, and then I will write back to you a little later tonight.
Sounds good.
And how do you guys want to receive feedback? Do you guys like course messages? I typically do course messages. I'm also available through text. If you need something right away, I suggest just text me, and usually I'll get back to you within like 10 minutes or so.
Awesome.
Because I do have another job, so sometimes it's hard to, sometimes I don't see your guys' emails or stuff right away, so, or if you guys have a question, I could usually answer it right away instead of within that 48-hour time period, even though I usually answer them a lot quicker than that.
Yeah.
Course messages is fine.
Yeah. I just didn't know, like, there's no like thing that pops up or anything when you get a message from Course Messenger, so I didn't even see that like it was there. But now I know that that I need to check it for things, so I'll be able to look at it.
Yeah, look at course messages. You could even look at your Rasmussen email. I usually try to do both when I send them, just because some people don't check one place, but they check the other place. So I try to do it in a couple locations if possible. Any other questions about field experience?
Nope.
All right, cool. So, APA Guide for School of the Education. So, not really sure if you guys have looked at this at all or not, but it's to ensure consistency and precision for students and for faculty. Rasmussen has chose APA style as the standard documentation and citation style to be used in all courses. So the APA style provides clear references and text at the end of the document. By using this APA style, it's in our classes and assignments, it's just if we streamline it, so the documentation component is across all classes. If you guys are unfamiliar with the APA guidelines, you can go check it out at Rasmussen APA Guide in Blackboard. from the home page, you would want to click on the far right tab on the top of your screen that says Resources. And then in the center column, you'll see the library resources. And then it's the fourth link down that says APA Guide. You want to click on that, and it will open up Rasmussen APA Reference Center that has all the information you will need for APA formatting. And then you could use the menu on the left side of the screen to jump to the specific APA formatting information that you need. So I'm not sure if you guys have worked with APA formatting in your other classes or not, but this is the link to go to there.
My other college was MLA, I believe, but it's just figuring out what's expected, and it's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. And if there's anything that is like, anything that I dock you on and it's not right, you know, you'll have a chance to resubmit it if you don't like your grade. So that is something, like I said, that I'm really flexible about. All right, so you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns?
Nope.
All right, cool. So this week, or it was last week that you guys had the role, you guys had a chance to look at the role of standards in early childhood education. Standards are present in nearly everything that we do. We define the expectations and levels of excellence. So in the field, there's 4 different components for the roles of standards in early childhood education. So I just wanted to touch up on a little on each of them. So there's the program standards. So basically, it's how your program operates. Basically, you know, it's what you guys do as far as teaching methods, curriculum, assessment, and like the quality criteria for your program, and as a whole, and program standards. So like many early childhood education programs follow the NAEYC, the National Association for Education of Young Children, program standards, and Rasmussen really follows it too. This emphasizes and includes the accreditation process, which involves a rigorous documentation and a program evaluation by an outside accrediting agency, such as NAEYC. So for example, the benefits of seeking accreditation through NAEYC, you could go through the NAEYC website and look at that, of how they actually do it. I know I could speak for Head Start. We have program standards. It's actually called Head Start standards that we have to follow. And basically there's different things of assessment, home visits that we need to complete. It's really strict of what we actually need to get because we're government funded. And if we don't meet that criteria, we could actually lose our funding. Like last year, we had our federal government come out and do an assessment of our whole program. We did pretty well, but it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when they come out, knowing that they could actually take your money away and then you may not have a job. So basically, yeah, the program standards is pretty much what you guys are doing with curriculum and how your program operates. You guys have anything to share with that?
I know my mom worked at Head Start when I was growing up in the small town that we lived in. And then and I participated in that Head Start, and then I've also worked at KinderCare as well as Children's Learning Adventure, as well as a more local kind of daycare kind of setting. So I've seen a lot of different program standards that the different places set. And there's usually a lot similar about them. It's just how they approach them ends up being different. For example, like at Children's Learning Adventure, they have like a gym, they have a culinary room, they have a music room, they have a science room. So like having the curriculum and assessment stuff be split up like that into different areas is one of the big things that it's about. And then versus like when I worked at kinder care, it's a lot of like in the classroom, like worksheets and trying to do the stuff all in a one classroom setting.
Sure. That's a good way to look at it. And it's, different programs have different, things that you can and cannot do. For example, like kinder care, you could probably have cupcakes come into the classroom as opposed to Head Start where you can't have any outside food coming in. So it's, yeah, it is a little bit different with different program standards and the different criteria for what they have to do. Like for home visits, you have to make sure to do a first home visit. Like in kinder care, you might not have to do a home visit. So it is a little bit different.
Yeah, there's different expectations depending on the center you go to.
Yeah, the center I work at is the Early Childhood Education Center. So I work with toddlers all day long, but we don't just let them go ham on whatever they want. Like it's extremely structured all day long, and it has curriculum, and it's very like intimate in a way, because I see these kids 5 days a week, and I have a whole team of teachers, so it's very structured, and a lot of parents have very high expectations, and it pays off, all the structured learning for the toddlers, because they're just so smart.
They're a tough little bunch. I know I have one. She's a handful, but I mean they are like a sponge and they learn a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you guys is, do you feel like that you guys take care? Do you feel like you guys are like the parents of these children at times?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, because we are showing them the safety that they need, the love that they need, all the nurturing that they need, except we're not their parents. But I think it's really funny because even when they're toddlers, they can be a completely different human around their parents than when they're around teachers. So I think it's very important for these kids to be able to spend time with teachers. So I try to show them as much respect as their parents would while they're in my care.
And that's awesome. That's good that you're with them and showing them that you do care. And I mean, hopefully the family sees that and they respect you enough. You could have that good relationship with them. So, do you guys have anything else to add towards program standards? Okay, so licensing standards, as you guys probably already know, that there's licensing guidelines that are specific to state, and they define the rules and regulations that must be followed in order for the program to operate. The biggest thing that you guys probably already know is teacher-child ratios, and then there's education licensure, or just making sure that you have, it's pretty much the keeping the children safe is what it comes down to with licensing standards. So states have licensing agencies that pass and approve programs adherence to the guidelines. If you are watching this as a recording, and this is one of the questions I want to ask Amanda and Nathan and the rest of the class, is have you guys ever went through a licensing visit and How was that? What was the outcomes of it?
Uh,
You're laughing, Amanda, like you have.
licensing is one of the most like unnecessary stresses I feel like that you have to worry about. And like I know I haven't had licensing come in to Children's Learning Venture. We have somebody on site who manages all the licensing stuff to make sure that we're following it and doing it so that if they do visit or something that like there's not things that we're missing or making sure everybody knows what's expected from licensing.
Hmm.
But at KinderCare, um, there they had when I came there, there was a lot of when I went there, there was a lot of like rebuilding and stuff they were doing where they were having problems with licensing. And then it's just one of those things that like I know Minnesota has one of the most strict licensing when it comes to early education compared to other states. I know that in like compared to Texas for this Texas and Arizona ratios are so much higher than Minnesota is. Um, I think that it's for I can't remember the numbers specifically, but it's over 20 to 1 for school agers,
Oh wow, that's
as well as for preschool and everything. The numbers are way higher. Um, so I think that it's a good thing that I like the lower ratios better. I wouldn't want to go somewhere where I have to manage that many kids at once. It'd be super stressful. But a lot of the legal things and the specific rules that you have to follow, like the really nitpicky stuff that you could get cited for and that would label your whole center for, are really just they just like try. I don't know. They're just annoying.
I haven't, sorry, I haven't had to experiencing a licensing person in my face yet. I probably will this fall when they come to make sure everything's okay. But I've been gone one day, and the next day I'll come back, and they'll say, "Oh, licensing was in here," and "Oh, we need to have our bathroom bleach in the bathroom, not in the cupboard where all the other spray bottles are." So I know they're very specific on tiny little things. And
Yep.
with things like ratios, I know as an aide, I'm allowed to be with 7 kids alone. There's a 21 max in my classroom, and being in a classroom like a toddler classroom where there's potty trainers, there's points of the day where we have 10 potty trainers, but I can only have 7. So sometimes that makes it quite difficult because you want to follow those regulations because you don't want to be caught necessarily. You don't want to get your center in trouble because you're trying to make something more convenient for yourself. That's just selfish.
and that's a good way to look at it. It's really licensing. I feel like should actually partner with the teachers and with the program instead of trying to cite them
Yeah.
about the different things. I actually had a licensing specialist last year that I will have again this year, who will come, and she's really, really nitpicky about every little thing that our center is or is not doing. And I feel like, there's a certain amount of wood chips that have to be a certain amount of depth. There has to make sure that all the children are vaccinated, or whatever it is. I feel like that they're looking to find something so they could actually show off. But I think, in all reality, we know that we're doing the best that we can. And if you do make a mistake, you do make a mistake. I mean, everybody's human. And I think the biggest thing is just learning from your mistake, and just going forward and trying to get better. So yeah.
I found the ratio for just for a fun little fact thing. So for 18 to 23-month-olds in Texas, it's 9-1, and in Minnesota it's 7-1, and then at 2 years it goes to an 11-1, while in Minnesota it's still 7-1. At 3 years in Minnesota it's 10-1, and in Texas it's 15-1. At 4 years in Texas it goes to 18-1, while in Minnesota it's still 10-1. 5-year-olds is 10-1 in Minnesota, and in Texas it's 22-1. And then school agers and up in Minnesota is 15-1, and in Texas it's 26-1.
Wow.
It's we have it a lot better ratios in Minnesota.
And you know what's so funny, Nathan? In the state of Texas, I don't know how much it goes on, probably not much because of this day and age, but there's a lot of corporal punishment. Corporal punishment has not been, it still exists in the Deep South. And, you know, maybe that's why the ratios are so big. And I don't know, I can't speak for that because I don't live down there. But I've heard of corporal punishment actually happening in preschools down there as a strategy, which is not best practice at all.
Yeah.
And I think they need to revisit their ratios because that is an insane amount of pressure for the teacher, and it's not good for the children too as well because you don't have that quality of care like you do in Minnesota. I know in Colorado, one of the things that we want to try to change to is the infant ratio. We have a 1 teacher to 5 infants, which I find to be really ridiculous, honestly, because I don't think you could give quality care to 5 babies, especially infants, for just 1 teacher. For me, I can't really wrap my head around that because I don't know if you guys have children or not, but having a child and just knowing that is just, I feel like that is, I can't wrap my head around it. I really can't. It's just, you won't give quality of care, and I don't know. I think a lot of these corporations are just big businesses, which is unfortunate, but.
Yeah, we deal with a lot of that, whether it's the ratio and the business side of it comes before the personal relationships and growing and learning with the kids and building those connections with families and things like that. And it's unfortunate that it has to be that way. But the corporate people, at the end of the day, see their company as a business, which is hard to really deal with.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Amanda.
I was just going to say, I'm fortunate to work with a family-owned business, so the owner is in there pretty often. Her children are going to take over the business, and it's really nice to know that I don't work for one of those big corporate companies who only care about the pay stub at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate because I have worked for a corporate, and I worked for a corporate place for like 5.5 years as a teacher, and I think during that time I got maybe an 80-cent raise in the 5 years that I worked there, which is absolutely absurd now that I think about it. But I was, you know, young and thinking, oh, I have a job and I'm getting this amount of money, so yay. But now I look back at it, I'm just like, wow, they were really using me. But I mean, it is what it is. But you know, it's just something that's just my opinion. I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong, but that's kind of how I see it. I just feel like sometimes these daycares or learning centers want to enroll as many children as possible. They don't, like Nathan said, they don't really care about establishing that relationship with the family. They just want their money, and they will throw children into these rooms and not have many teachers or qualified teachers, and then they're just like, here you go, you could deal with it now, which is ridiculous. So yeah, do you guys have anything else to add to that? That was a good conversation. Um, last couple things, professional standards. So basically, you know, our early childhood education, so like the NACE is involved with professional standards, pretty much just outlines the criteria for quality educators as well as expectations for the preparation and practice. Ethical guidelines are considered part of the professional standards. So, you know, you guys could look into that. Basically, just, yeah, this ethical guidelines, stuff that you've probably read with the NACE and their positions on different things of the children and what to do and whatnot. So basically, that is professional standards, and then there's the last thing is the learning standards. So that covers expectations and indicators for what children should know and what they should be actually be able to do. So like for Head Start, we have like the Head Start Early Learning Outcome framework. Basically, that just gives you guidelines of what children should know from birth to 5. So other terms to describe learning standards include, you know, child outcomes, performance-based indicators, or early childhood standards. According to a 2007 survey of learning standards, nearly every state had developed child outcome standards for pre-kindergarten age children, and 22 had or were in the process of developing infant toddler standards. So the degree to which early childhood learning standards are implemented still varies, although their impact is evident in most early childhood settings today. So a lot of like schools, like preschools that are actually in the school will use the Common Core state standards if they have adopted it. I'm not sure if Minnesota, I don't think you guys use that. I'm not 100% sure though, what they use in the schools for preschools, that preschool classrooms that are in schools. But yeah, that's basically, it's age specific and it's child outcomes. So my other question, if you are viewing this online, what type of standards do you use at your center as far as indicators of and when child meets milestones and when you know that they could move on to the next developmental stage / goal? Or do you guys know? Maybe you guys don't know what kind of, I guess, milestone markers you guys use. Like I said, for us, we use the Head Start Early Learning Outcome Framework that shows us when children meet specific things at different ages and stages.
I know that at my center, there's like the biggest standard that is at corporate centers is age, where it's for some kids, well, for all kids, when they reach a certain age, they'll start transitioning them up, whether it's if the child is ready or not, which is unfortunate that it has to be that way, that they care about more the ratio and where the child needs to be instead of where they are developed. And that issue is in our center, and it's something that you can't really fight or do anything about because it's a mixture of corporate as well as parents not wanting to keep their child behind, which makes sense. If you're a parent, you wouldn't want, a lot of parents, you can understand, would get upset if they were told that their child needed to be held behind, or trying to tell the parent about their kid like that way. I know that that's a really touchy thing, and people get scared to tell parents those kind of things because they're afraid that the parent might sue them or do something because parents have so much power in early education, especially since they're paying for their child to be there. But I know that for toddlers to move to preschool, they have to be potty trained as well as be able to communicate verbally their basic essential needs. And then once it gets into preschool, it's more of that just ratio type of thing. I know that we have kids that are way ahead and kids that are way behind that end up being in the same room because that's just where their ages fall together, which can make it hard for teachers. But ideally, it would be where they are developmentally and being able to put kids that are in the same developmental stages, whether it's writing their names and writing letters, or if they're already able to read words and sight words, things like that, or they can start being able to communicate verbally and express themselves, things like that, would be the ideal kind of way to do it. But again, it's a corporate thing at where I work.
Yep, and like you said, parents do have a lot of control over what their children, and they have power of what they want. If they want their child moved up, the director will probably accommodate to that, or else they get threatened of getting sued, like you said.
Yeah, like Nathan said, a big thing in my toddler classroom is that when they move up to preschool, they have to be potty trained. There's a lot, more times than you think there would be, there's situations where parents are not ready to potty train, but their child is going to be moving up to preschool in a couple of months. So that's the problem that we face in my classroom a lot, where we have to pretty much like force these families to start potty training because we just can't keep their toddlers in our room. That's just not how it works. Like, they have to move up when they're a certain age, and it's our responsibility as teachers to teach them how to use the potty. And if parents don't want to help us out, then they're being potty trained at school and wearing diapers at home. And I think basically psychologically that's just damaging for the child. So, but that's a big milestone that they have to take in my classroom, which I'd like to see them take that milestone, but when their parents don't want to help us out, it's a little hard.
Yeah, that's interesting. In my Head Start program, children can be not potty trained, and we're not early Head Start, we're just Head Start, so we're just 3 to 5 years of age. They could be in preschool and they could still have a diaper, or a pull-up, which is
Wow.
really hard on our teachers because we're constantly trying to potty train these children while trying to teach a curriculum. And it does get to be very difficult trying to do two things at once while trying to meet all these other regulations set by the state and the county and the federal government, which is a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So do you guys have anything else to add to this? Just want to make sure that I didn't cut anyone off. So I have question and answer time. Remind me again, Nathan, what your question was. I didn't have a pencil at the time when you asked your question, so I could write it, or so I could post it tonight to the Blackboard so everybody knows. Because if one of you guys have a question, then I'm guessing everybody does, would be my guess.
It was about the field experience hours and how to document them, or how you need them like documented.
How to document?
Yeah, because like so how to like prove that I am doing the hours that I'm doing.
Sure. I will look into that and get back to you.
And then I had that question about the field experience rubric.
Yep. All right, perfect. And I will both answer your guys' questions probably right when I get off of this live session, so it's fresh in my mind. So I don't have you guys waiting. So my goal is to try to answer your guys' questions as fast as I can. So I will look into the course announcements in the calendar and take a look, and I will get back to you guys. So you guys will not have to do anything to earn full credit for this, since you guys participated and you guys were online. So I do appreciate your participation tonight.
Yeah, I think discussions is
Yes, thank you.
one of my favorite things about classes, and that's one of the hardest part about online classes is that verbal discussions are very limited. So
Yeah, and I'm glad that you guys are really active in my class, because a lot of times it's really, really difficult because some people will type in the chat box and not respond. So sometimes I'm talking to myself and I feel like the interactions is not as great. And then there's long pauses, and then people who actually view it online later, they're just like, well, there was long pauses, and it's so hard because then you're trying to type in the chat box and trying to talk at the same time, which is a little bit, you know, for me, it's a little bit difficult. Probably because I'm old. I don't know. But yeah, if you guys don't have any questions, we could end our live session. And if you have any other additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available. Like I said, I get back quickest with text messages. But if you want to course message, that's fine. However you feel most comfortable. I will see your email and I will respond to you as soon as I can.
Awesome.
All right. Well, you guys have a great night, and we will talk to you shortly. All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.